After subscribing to a monthly or annual white label free trial plan, you'll find the option to click the console button located in the upper right corner. Upon clicking this button, you will gain access to a dedicated section where you can proceed to fully customize your AI voice application. To begin, let's first click on Configuration. Well, in this section, we are provided with the opportunity to specify the name that we wish to assign to our platform within the app name field. We then have the option to specify the web domain through which our platform will be made accessible to all internet users. So, in this dedicated custom domain section, we must proceed to specify what our chosen domain name is. For the purpose of conducting this test, I will be using the following domain: appy.ristoi.io, imagining that I intend to offer a white label platform to the restaurants within my local area. In this particular area, it's recommended to use a subdomain. In this specific situation, the subdomain is represented by app. Which should be prefixed to the main domain, ristoi.io. We strongly advise the adoption of this particular methodology, considering that the primary domain is typically reserved for the main landing page or the company's public-facing website, whereas the core application itself will be securely hosted on the designated subdomain app, ristoi.io. It is not a mandatory choice, however, it is very strongly recommended that you make use of this particular methodology and then proceed to enter app.ristoi.io or alternatively appyourdomain.com. Once you've entered your specific subdomain into the designated field, the next step is to configure the DNS settings. To achieve this, you'll simply need to click on the dedicated DNS Configuration button. This will then open a new tab where you'll be presented with two alternative options for configuring the DNS. We provide you with the ability to specify your web domain service provider. Now, if your provider is among these three options, the installation process is quite automated. All you'll need to do is simply click on Discover and then add your API key. However, let's consider a scenario where our specific provider isn't found within the list provided. In such a situation, we then have the option to simply click on Manual to proceed with configuring our own DNS settings. It's crucial to emphasize that this particular option serves as an alternative to the method we just discussed. Alright then, to be able to properly configure the DNS settings, we will need to proceed and add these specific records that are currently being shown right here. So, let's follow this procedure. Once this is done, to complete the domain installation, we must perform an additional step, clicking on Install SSL. First, we'll configure the records and then we'll proceed with the second step listed. In order for our AI voice application to be hosted on our customized domain and made accessible to our clients, we therefore need to install the necessary DNS records. I have selected the Manual tab because my web domain service provider is Porkban and it's not available in this list of providers. So, I click on Manual and obtain these two values. In my specific case, the domain is ristoi.co. I will therefore need to manually add these values to Porkban. Specifically, in Porkban, I click on this DNS link after I've obviously purchased the domain, and then I add the values that were previously indicated. We'll start with the A record. So, first, I will select the option A from this available list. Then, in this specific section, I will input the IT symbol. And now, for the value, I'll enter the IP address that this record needs to point to. For the TTL field, I will input either 300 or simply choose the auto option, and then I'll click on the Add button. Perfect! The value has been successfully added, as I'm not seeing any error messages. Let's now proceed with adding the next record, the CNAME. So, I'll go back once again to Portman, and then I will select the CNAME record type. In this particular field, I'll enter up, which is going to be the name of the subdomain. For the value entry, I will then insert the specific domain, which happens to be my own personal domain. And subsequently, under the TTL setting, I'll either input the number 300 or simply select the auto option. Finally, I'll proceed to click on the Add button to confirm. Alright, the DNS settings are now configured. Please remember that for the propagation process, several hours are often required, so it's not entirely guaranteed that you can already access my domain where the AI voice application is hosted, in my case, up.ristoi.so. Once the DNS records have been configured, the subsequent step that is planned is to proceed with the installation of the SSL security certificate. To do this, you will need to click on Install SSL. If, for any reason whatsoever, you happen to encounter any errors or experience difficulties with the installation process of your SSL certificate, or perhaps with the addition of the necessary DNS records, please feel free to contact our dedicated support team. You can do this through the voice bot located at the bottom right of your screen, simply by requesting to open a support ticket. Our dedicated support team will always be available to promptly intervene and resolve any issues pertaining to this specific functionality. The next step involves configuring the currency that we wish to adopt for invoicing our clients. To do this, we need to click on this field and select one of the available currencies. Another important step is choosing the application's main language. The following languages are currently available for your selection. Therefore, by proceeding to select one of these specific languages from the list, the direct consequence will be that the application itself will then be fully translated into your chosen language. Once you have successfully completed this particular step, you will then need to click on the Save button to save your settings. Now, let's move on to the stylistic and chromatic configuration of our application. On this specific tab, we are provided with the option to select the primary and secondary color scheme for our platform, as well as the main color utilized in the emails that we sent out to our clients, and the primary color of the button that is positioned within those emails. We also provide the option to upload our logo in either PNG or SVG format for both light and dark themes. In fact, you have the flexibility to configure our platform with either a light or a dark visual theme. This is purely a matter of stylistic preference. Finally, as the very last step, we have the opportunity to further personalize our platform by uploading a favicon right here in this section. Now, let's move on to the integration tab. Within this particular section, we are able to configure several important aspects of our application. It's important to note that, first and foremost, we have the option to integrate Stripe, which is the payment gateway that allows us to process charges on our customers' cards, specifically debit cards, and thus create true subscriptions or one-time payment plans, or even pay-as-you-go options, as will be explained shortly. We also have the option to connect a telephone carrier, such as Twilio, which is just one of the 3 available options we provide to allow our customers to make phone calls. It should also be remembered that there's also the option to add telnix or a SIP trunk, in addition to allowing our users to acquire numbers directly from calling. Another application that we can go ahead and connect is SendGrid. SendGrid is an application that provides us with the ability to send emails using our custom domain. In this particular instance, for example, I could utilize a service like SendGrid to dispatch emails to my clients using a domain such as info@ristoi.com, or in your specific case, it would be info@mydomain.com. We also have the possibility to make available to all of our clients a dedicated support chat, which is a widget, as it is clearly shown in this particular case, by simply connecting either Intercom or Brevo Chat. Finally, we have the capability to monitor all the activities carried out by our users within the scope of our application by integrating Google Analytics for the purpose of tracking every event generated by them. As we have previously emphasized, one of the most crucial aspects involves the integration of Stripe. To achieve this, we must first create an account on stripe.com and then register all the necessary details for our company or as an individual. After doing that, we then need to click on this Stripe button and then click Connect. We will then be redirected to a window where you'll be asked to enter the email linked to your Stripe account, and then you'll need to click the Continue button to proceed with the authorization. Let's now move on to the setup and configuration of Twilio.com, which represents an absolutely essential step should you wish to enable your users to have the capability of utilizing Twilio as their dedicated telephone infrastructure for managing all of their communication calls. It is not, however, a necessary step if you want to adopt alternative options to Twilio, such as Telnix, SAP Trunk, or the possibility of using a number purchased on calling.io. Well, to connect Twilio, you must first register an account on Twilio.com. After doing this, you will need to load credit into Twilio to activate your paid account. And then, you will need to acquire these credentials, account SID, and out token, and then you would insert them into this specific calling section. Account SID and account 2 out token. Once that's done, we click on Save. Now, let's move on to the SendGrid integration. It's crucial to carry out this procedure so that we can begin sending our clients personalized emails directly from our own domain. For example, info.yourdomain.com. If you don't carry out this procedure, all the emails that we send to our clients will be sent using the calling.io domain. So, it is a fundamental step in order to correctly configure our entire white label platform. To perform this procedure, we'll need to go and create an account on SendGrid.com. Let's proceed. After successfully creating a free account on SendGrid.com, all we need to do is click into the Settings section and then proceed to select the Sender Authentication tab. On this tab, we will be able to view all the senders who are authorized to send an email using our domain. To be able to start the sender verification procedure, we need to click on Verify a Single Sender. Well, here a form will open up that we will need to go and fill out with our personal or company information, and after its completion, we will then have to click on the Create button to be able to receive an email with a link from SendGrid. By clicking the Verify button, which will be included in the email that we will receive from SendGrid, we will then be able to definitively verify our email address that we would like to use for sending messages to our valued clients. After completing the questionnaire and receiving the email from SendGrid with the sender verification link, we then need to perform this additional step, which involves entering the API key and the sender's email into the calling system. To do this, we need to navigate to the dedicated API key section. Once there, we'll proceed to create a brand new API key, ensuring that it is configured with full access permissions. It's important to then assign a clear and descriptive name to our newly generated API key. For instance, we can call it Test. Alright, an API key has been successfully generated for us. Let's copy it now, and then we'll go ahead and paste it into calling. We'll navigate to this section, click on SendGrid, and then we'll input our API key and our verified sender. In my particular case, that's @calling.io. In your particular situation, it's the @ yourdomain.com, and then we proceed to click Save. Perfect, the process completed successfully. Now, let's move to the management of users registered on our platform. In this section, we can view all the users who have registered for our application, app.yourdomain.com, and we can see what plan they have subscribed to by clicking on this specific icon. We then have the capability to access the profiles of our users by simply clicking on this provided link. By clicking this specific icon, we gain the ability to access their account and create agents and workflows directly within their platform. It's important to highlight that we offer two distinct options for adding users, or rather clients, to our platform. We have the ability to add them manually, acting as an administrator, by clicking on Create User and then providing their email address. As you can see in this example. Now, let's click on Create User. We also have the option to share the registration link to our platform with our users. In our specific case, the link is app.aristoi.co, or in your case, it could be app.yourdomain.com. Let's now move to the subscription section. In this section, as you can see, there's no information yet because no active plans have been subscribed by our clients. Actually, in this specific section, we would see all card payments made by our clients to us. Well, there isn't any information available because first and foremost, we must proceed to create a subscription, which is essentially a payment plan, either a one-time payment option or a flexible pay-as-you-go plan for all of our clients who will be able to subscribe directly within their own platform, specifically in their personal account. To accomplish this, we simply click on Subscription Plans. Now, let's click on Create a Plan, and then we'll assign a name to our new plan. We'll call it Basic Plan, and then we'll add a description. Alright, then we can go ahead and select more options. Active, if we wish to make our plan active right away, making it available to both our current and potential clients. And then we can select the popular checkbox if we want to ensure this plan is considered the primary one for subscription on our platform. We'll then continue with the subsequent step. At this point, we are required to specify whether our current subscription or our chosen plan should be designated as or configured to function as a monthly subscription or a one-time purchase option. In this particular case, it's not a recurring subscription service, but instead, you will simply make a single, one-off payment for the total amount of minutes that we are going to assign to this specific plan. Alternatively, we offer a pay-as-you-go plan. This means that we will bill our clients based on their actual usage of minutes, which is calculated and charged either on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. So, we're going to select one of the three available options. In this next step, I'll need to specify the exact amount of minutes I wish to make available from the basic plan to my clients, and also what the overall price will be for this particular plan. I'm going to specify 200 minutes, just as it's indicated in the plan description, and then I'll proceed to specify the overall price for the subscription. For example, we can indicate $200 here. We then proceed to specify if we would like to include an additional option, which is the possibility of making some extra minutes available in the event that the minutes allocated to your plan have been completely used up. And then we further indicate what the additional charge per minute will be. This is an entirely optional feature. What is the price for each additional minute? Here, for example, we can indicate a value of 0.17 cents of a dollar. Pause. Then, we also have the final option to specify whether we would like our plan to be an annual one, meaning it would remain an active plan for the entire year, and this would include a discount. Let's activate this option. Here we are asked to specify what discount we want to give our customers if they pay in advance for the full 12 months. So, let's go ahead and assign the discount, for example, 10%. Then we click Next. In this section, we can proceed to include specific features that are linked to our plan, with the aim of making them available to customers who subscribe to that particular plan. Well then, since we haven't yet created any features, nor have we enabled them, we can set this step aside for now, and we will carry it out after the features have been created. Alright, let's move forward with this. We'll go back and carefully review to ensure all the information we've entered is completely accurate, and then we'll simply click on the Create button. Now, let's proceed to create the descriptive elements that we wish to include in our plan within our pricing plans grid. To do this, we must navigate and click on the Feature Capabilities section. Then, we will click on this specific button. We'll then assign a name to the feature, for example, One Multilingual Agent. We are going to proceed with assigning a description, and then we'll add a category. We clicked on Create. Perfect. The feature, which is the descriptive element of the characteristic included in the plan, has been successfully created. Now we need to include this descriptive element in our plan. So let's click again on Subscription Plans and edit it. After clicking on Edit, we will once again see all the information related to the plan. We then need to click on Feature and proceed to check this specific item, One Multilingual Agent. And then we'll click on Save. Pause. Excellent. A descriptive element that we wanted to include in our overall plan has now been successfully configured. Now, let's move on to the Guide section. In this specific section, we have the possibility to configure a default guide for our users so that they have all the necessary information to understand how to create AI agents independently and workflows or integrations. Well, to be able to add a customized guide that isn't the official call-in guide, which is installed on the support.callin.io domain, we absolutely must perform this step. So, we click on Add New, and then we'll add the title to the guide. So, Guide. Well then, here we need to specify the domain where your guide will be hosted, and this could also be a subdomain. To make your work easier, and so you don't have to write your guide completely from scratch, we've provided a convenient link to a default guide that is not branded with the call-in logo. The link is aicode.com. You can view it at this web address. Click on Save to proceed with adding the guide to your users to their accounts. After you have successfully created and made the comprehensive guide section readily available to all your users, there is an additional, entirely optional step you can undertake. This involves compiling a detailed list of frequently asked questions, which should then be strategically positioned directly beneath the payment plan section for the convenience of your users. Well, the completion of this particular section is entirely optional. However, it can prove quite useful for addressing any potential concerns or questions your users might have regarding payment plans. You can proceed to fill out, or indeed create, this specific section by simply clicking on the Add FAQ button. And you will then have the responsibility to specify all the most frequently asked questions and their corresponding answers.